Hi there and welcome to another PSD Toots spoon-fed Photoshop tutorial. I'm Gavin Steele and I'm going to be taking you through Alex's energy drink ad design. You can check out all the steps over at psdtoots.com. Don't forget to check out our Vimeo site www.vimeo.com/psdtoots. psdtoots.com has also launched its own wiki site, so head over to wiki.psdtoots.com/w/photoshop_website_directory, or you'll find the link over at the PSD Toots website. There's some great links there to some tutorials and video tutorials and all the Photoshop resources that you could possibly need. And also you get to contribute and you get a chance of winning $100. So head over there and check it out. All the links you need for any of the files, in particular you're going to be looking at this red can. You can check out over at Stock Exchange, and the link is included in the step-by-step tutorial created by Alex. So let's load up Photoshop and get started. You can see here I've got my canvas set to 1600 by 1280. The background color there is B1C900. I've got my can of Coke, or sorry, red can here, clearly not a can of Coke, and basically I've already cut it out using a really rough method. I just went to select, I selected the white, the color range, select, color range, I clicked on the white, deleted it, and that was it basically. Obviously you spend a bit more time when you're selecting and cutting around. You can use the pen tool over here. There's loads of tutorials on how to do that, but I just cut it out roughly. We're going to come back to that later on, so I'm just going to get rid of it for now. Once you've got your background color set, we're going to head over to our custom shape tool, which is over here. If you just click and hold down, custom shape tool, and then we're going to make sure you've got this little globular shape selected, and then we're going to choose this shape here, which should be in your preset registration target. If it's not there, head over to Edit, down to Preset Manager, go into Custom Shapes and load them, but you should find most of them there, and then click on Done. And there's loads of free ones to download as well. So once you're in there and you've got that tool selected, again make sure over here on some of the tool little functions here we've got shape layers. Make sure you've got that selected, it's going to help out a lot. I always get confused excuse me, and choose fill pixels, but make sure you've got that selected for this particular tutorial. Then somewhere in the middle we're going to select, we're going to hold down shift, click, and we're just going to shift click and alt, and then just drag out. We're going to drag right past our canvas like so, and then we're going to double click on our color and we're going to change that color. We're going to change that to BDD-CO1. Click on OK. Once you've done that, we're going to duplicate that layer. We're going to change the color. We're going to change it to a lighter color, and we're going to go for D3 EB45. Click on OK. And then what we're going to do is we're going to transform this. So all we're going to do is we're going to rotate it slightly. So I've hit Command T there. You can go to Edit, Free Transform. You can even go to Transform Path and go to Rotate. But I'm happy with that. And again, hold down Shift, and I'm just going to rotate this ever so slightly. Just a little bit more. Okay, I'm happy with that. I'm just going to hit Return or Enter and hit it again. And again, you can play around with that, getting all the gaps perfect, but actually I'm quite happy with that. And you can see we've got yellow, so a lighter green, the normal green, a line of the background, and then the lighter green again, and that goes all the way around. It's a great little effect and a quick little tool for creating a cool background. Once you've done that, we're going to start to create the circles now that go right across the middle of this particular design. So we're going to create a new layer. We're going to head over to a brush tool, Make sure you've got the hardness set all the way up to 100%. And the first colour we're going to choose is going to be 7A 263E, and hit OK. Once you've done that, we're going to reduce its opacity down to 60%. Okay, great little tip for your opacity. You can just type it straight in. So I could have typed 60 in there, or I could have used the slider, which is over the actual word opacity, and just slid that right down to 60. Once you're done, increase the size of your brush. Like so, until you get a nice big brush. And we're just going to click. So somewhere in the middle we're going to start off. I'm just going to increase the size of my brush a little bit more. I'm using the close bracket, square bracket, and the open square bracket just to create bigger size brushes. I'm going to start with a big one up here, just slightly off center. Okay, until you get an area that you're happy with, and that looks okay to me. So all we're going to do is we're going to go through a process now of creating a new layer, changing the color, reducing the size of the spots, and just playing around with them on the actual canvas itself. So create a new layer. This time we're going to go for different color, CDD E67. Click on OK, and again, make sure you reduce that opacity right down to 60% or less. Okay, new layer, new color. Set this one to 93133D. And I'm just going to move this one because actually it's a pink layer below my previous layer, so you could have done this particular colour first. Again, reduce your opacity down to 60%. Okay, I'm happy with that. And just randomly increasing and decreasing the size of my brushes. And then I'm going to create another layer. And this one we're going to change the colour to D9 F1 4A. And again, slightly smaller. Again, make sure you set your opacity down to 60%. Or there or thereabouts. And just going to create a few smaller little details. Like so. And then we're going to head on, create one more layer, I think, and change the color again. This time we're going to go for 93133D, and we're just going to lower the opacity of this one down ever so slightly. So this time maybe 80%, and small little dots. Make that one a little bit smaller. Okay, and then obviously you can add little dots just going off over here as if they're following these lines. And then I'm going to reduce the opacity of those ones right down, like so. Okay, when you're happy with the placement of your dots, and again you just got to play around with it until you get it looking how you want it to look. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to merge all of those layers. So I'm just going to come down here, highlight them all, Control click or right click on a PC, and I'm going to go to merge those layers. Okay, now all of those layers are on their own. We're going to duplicate that new group or that merged layer, and once you've done that, the first thing you're going to go to is Filter, Blur and Radial Blur, and we're going to set that to 100, Zoom and Best, and click on OK. It's going to take a second just to render there. Okay, what you're going to do next is we're going to change the blending mode to difference, and you're going to see where this tutorial is really a little bit different. Again, you're not actually aiming for an exact copy of the tutorial. You've got to use these techniques and try and put them into your own work and create some really cool backgrounds. I think it'd be ideal for maybe a header in a blog or a footer. It'd be really cool maybe for other products. So like I said, once that's finished, we're going to head over to difference in our blending mode. Again, I just selected that from the drop down list and click on difference. Once you've done that, we're going to merge those two layers together. Again, just shift click on them, or you could command click on each of them. Control click or right click, merge those layers, head over to image, adjustments, hue and saturation. And this is where you can really play around maybe with the end result, the colors that you want. Okay, but we're going to go for, let's say, something like 73. Click on OK. So we're going for this bluey green kind of colour with a few little flicks of red here and there, or a dark purple here or there. Next thing to do is to head into quick mask mode. So I'm just going to hit Q on my keyboard. You can see it's been selected over here. You could have just clicked on that. And then I'm going to fill the whole area with black. And then head over to my eraser tool. And then I'm going to create a soft brush. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to erase out this middle area here and then some specks around the side. And we're going to apply a blur to those other bits that we're leaving, the mask that we're leaving on there. So basically the bits you want to be in focus, you need to completely take out. So I'm just going to increase the size of my brush a little bit, make sure my middle area is fine, and then this one, again, these areas up here can be nice and blurred. Okay, when you're happy with that, all you need to do is exit quick mode. You can see it's made that selection. Now we want to inverse that selection, so head up to select, inverse, and then what we're going to do is we're going to make a layer from that. So we're going to go to layer, new, via a copy. And you can see over here in my layers palette, it's made a copy of that selection, and you can see it's slightly blurred out towards the sides. Once you've done that, next thing we need to do is go to filter, blur, and make sure you are on that new layer, and we're going to go to Gaussian blur, set it to about 4 pixels and click on OK. Then what we're going to do is we're going to put in our can, which fortunately enough I've got on my canvas already, but again all I did was load it into Photoshop and I selected the white area by going to select, color range, and I clicked on the white area, and then I just deleted it by pressing the backspace key. You could spend some time with the item that you're putting in. It could be a mobile phone. Use the pen tool, just trace around it, right click, make a selection, and then cut out the area that you don't want. But I'm pretty happy with that can for the purpose of this tutorial. Head into transform, make sure you're on the right layer, and then I'm just going to rotate that about 45 degrees, something like that. And then hit enter. So once you've added your can, the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to change the hue on that. So I'm going to go to image adjustments, hue and saturation. I'm just going to change that to about 180. And click on OK. And that kind of ties, or starts to tie the can into our background area there. Once you've got your can in place, the next thing you need to do is we're going to use the burn tool. Left click over here, make sure you've got burn tool selected, and I'm just going to increase the darkness this area down the can here. And that's just going to add to the 3D perspective of it. The light areas at the top, the dark areas just down here at the bottom. Okay, once you're happy with your product that you've put in, or your particular can, we're going to enter quick mask mode again. So just hit Q. We're going to fill the background with black again. We're going to head back over to the eraser tool, and we're just going to erase out the bottom bit that we don't want. Hit Q again. Once you've done that, we're just going to hit the delete key. We're going to go to, let's go back a second. Okay, quick tip, you don't have to hit the delete key to actually get rid of it. You can go up to layer, layer mask, and just hide that selection. So it is actually still there. We haven't got rid of it in case you ever want to come back to it and move the can around a little bit. But we've just masked it off. I hit delete and that would have, set it in stone, and I've got rid of that, and I would have had to have gone through my history to undo it. It's better to do it in a quick mask mode so you can go back later on and make any changes that you need to. It might be also a good point right now, head over to filter, sharpen, and just sharpen the image a little bit so it stands out nice. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to pixelate that a little bit, or add a bit of texture to the image. It looks a little bit clean right now, so I'm going to create a new layer. This time I'm going to fill it with white. I'm going to head over to filter, pixelate, and then the meso tint, and we're going to set that to medium dots. Click on OK, and then we're going to go to color burn. There you are, in our blending options. And then we're going to add a radial blur, filter, blur, radial blur, set that to 100, spin, and leave it on best. And click on OK. And again, that's just going to take a couple seconds to render. And that's pretty much the tutorial. The next thing to do is add your text, choose an appropriate font, and obviously try it out with different products. Don't just use the can. Might be a good idea to use this with mobile phones, any other items like that. Mobile phone seems to be pretty big at the minute on the tutorial sites, but this is a good little tutorial. Just zoom in there so that you can see those swirls around our can, center point being right here. And again, you can see I haven't quite cut that out perfectly, but again, if you spend a bit more time with the pen tool, you're going to get a really nice effect. And that's the tutorial, so thanks very much for watching. I'm Gavin Steele, taking you through Alex's energy drink ad design. Don't forget to check out more of my videos at vimeo.com/psdtoots, and maybe contribute over at the Photoshop wiki page. Thanks very much, and I hope to see you soon.